To unpack Nigeria's digital payment evolution, I'm joined by someone right at the center of it all, a product designer, fintech builder, and founder of UX Drive, Olawale Bamidele. Great to have you on the show, Ola.
Good morning. Great to be here once again, Justin. Thank you for having me.
All right, now let's begin with context specifically. How would you describe the current wave of this tap-to-pay adoption in Nigeria?
It's long overdue, actually. I've been expecting it to be one of the best payment options that we should have in Nigeria. To be honest, it's something that it's supposed to have been happening, but I know in time to come or in the next future, it's going to take over our payment system. It's growing. It's in the early stage. I don't know. There are a lot of brands that are actually doing it, but I think I've had a couple of one or two that are actually trying to infuse it into the system. It's going to bring up awareness, especially in the urban areas. But I know the adoption is still small because of the NFC-enabled devices. But fintech is actually taking over, and I'm really on it. I've actually been expecting this to be one of our payment options since time past, and I'm actually glad that it's actually coming to pass. So I'm very, very keen on it.
Some perspective now. What makes tap to pay more efficient than traditional card or cash payments method?
A lot. Tap to pay is about speed, number one. It's about simplicity. It's about reduced friction. It's about fast payments. It's just about if you forget your PIN, there's no authorization for screens. It's just simple. To be honest, it's simple, and it reduces user flow. If you understand what I mean, there's something called user flow in product design. It reduces user flow, and it reduces the number of time user had to engage with the product. So it's very, very good. For instance, the time you used to remove your card, put the card into whatever you're using, probably a POS machine or something, put it there, input your PIN. The operator, those lags are already gone. Those lags are already gone. What do you need to do? Very, very simple. All you need to do is just put your card or probably your mobile phone, whatever device you're using, just put it on it and you're good to go. As a matter of truth, I was telling somebody, because since I came into this country that I am, I think a couple of years ago, I think the only time I've had cash or used my ATM probably just 2 times or 3 times. Like, yes, I'm saying even when I travel abroad, probably go to Spain or go to Germany or go to other European countries, I'm always on my phone. I'm using my phone to make any payment. And even when you're buying things online, you're also using your phone. You just tap whatever you're using and you're making payments. So it reduces speed, it's simple, and in terms of user experience, it's actually the best compared to traditional ones.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned NFC in passing, like talking about adoption now. So what are the biggest challenges stopping tap to pay from becoming mainstream in Nigeria and indeed most part of Africa?
A lot. Hey, except we're going to deceive ourselves, to be honest. Except we're going to deceive. First of all, I think there's still compatibility issues with the NFC accessibility. There's still hardware accessibility. There's still compatibility issue. I think a lot of payment terminals in terms of POS or other adopted payment terminals still have issues with don't supporting NFC. I think that's one of the biggest problems. Another thing, security is another thing. Security is another thing, because ensuring offline transaction is, with providers, the users, the merchants, and all those things is still a big deal. So in terms of compatibility, I think that's number one. In terms of the hardware being compatible with the kind of POS systems or payment terminals that we use in Nigeria is still a problem, and security. Those are the 3 major issues. If those ones can be, or maybe 1 or 2 of them can be, especially security and hardware compatibility, if those ones can be, easily worked on, then we're good to go.
Okay, when we talk of active players, in fintech and NFCs and all that, PalmPay, MoneyPoint come to mind. What are they doing differently to shift this landscape? Because I feel that we should have more active players.
Yeah, these are actually big guys, and we see what Money Points have done in the last 2 years.
Mm.
Massive. So I think they are not only just trying to work on the hardware's system, they're also doing sensitization. Like I think the last I heard, they're doing sensitization. They're making sure that people are have the adequate knowledge of how the system works. Because first of all, that we have trust issues.
Mm.
we have trust issues. That's the first thing. Because you cannot expect you to bring my friend and say, Papa, I put it down the pay. People still have people still have one or two, even just ATM card, making payment online. A lot of people are still not keen on it. So you're now coming to tell me that I'm just putting my phone on something and it's making payment. So they are doing knowledge sensitization, which is one of the most important things. They're actually also helping businesses and also making sure their devices are compatible with it. So in terms of what they are doing, they're actually investing a lot into this thing because it's in terms of return on investment, it's going to help a lot. It's going to help a lot. And I know the target market is not just the elite, it's not just the people that visit stores to make payments. It's also for business owners. In terms of what they are doing a lot of sensitization. They are bringing a lot of new technology into this, and it's a lot of investment. So those are part of the thing they are doing into this tap to pay system.
Okay, now I want you to walk us through the offline functionality of tap to pay and why that is a game changer in Nigeria.
Offline is, it's first of all, why is it offline? Means you can make your payment without having internet, which is key because in the geographical location where Nigeria is, internet is still a big deal. Like internet is still a big deal. Apart from the fact that in some environments, internet is not even as adequate as it is in other environments. So in terms of offline payments, very, very easy. Very, very easy. Make your payments when you don't have internet and you are good to go. So it means that for instance, in places where there are no network or where there are low band network, businesses can stay operational. Users are also not locked out of making payments. So it means you don't have to have internet to be able to make payments. And this system is actually key on the providers. It's actually key on the providers because they are the one that will make sure that all these proper APIs are actually generated to make all this thing works. But the thing is, you need to have if you're using a smartphone or if you're using an ATM card, it means that when you are putting your tap in, you don't need internet, and it works everywhere in the world. It works everywhere in the world. All you just put your card on and you are good to go. Put your phone on internet. You don't need to have internet to make it work. It means that from the firm or from the providers, they need to do a lot of work in making sure that there's seamless transaction, especially for security reasons. There's seamless transaction which does not require internet, and people are good to go.
Okay, now I know we've talked about infrastructure issues of internet connectivity, POS hardware, and all of that, but where should investment and policy support be going first, really?
To be honest, in terms of policies, like I used to say, we are still in a location where government has the most power. Let me use that word.
Okay.
Government has the most power. First of all, there needs to be a regulatory framework. And I know it has to come from the CBN. It has to come from the CBN. There needs to be a regulatory framework. There needs to be a proper cyber security in check, which is extremely very important because you don't want to lose trust when you're starting something. You don't want it to go haywire before it now becomes accepted. You want to have a seamless onboarding. If I can use that word, you need to have a seamless onboarding. So regulatory framework is important, and it guides both investors and investments. Because a lot of investors are really going to come in terms of making this thing a reality. So government need to get a regulatory framework to make this thing work. Policies need to be, less strictening because we know in just basic fintech, we know in the amount of paperwork you need to do. So there still need to be a less strictening policies that is going to make this thing acceptable. That's going to make the investors or the providers have a seamless seamless onboarding to the users. And also, even on the user's part, there need to be adequate cybersecurity that guides all these transactions, at least when it's starting. So it gain more ground early. We don't want to have issues when you're starting. Right? Nigerians are just going to, we don't have that chill for anything that has to do with money. So it's these are the things I think regulatories in terms of investment need to do from set go, make this thing work.
Okay, from regulation now, let's talk about, the federal government has been talking about deepening financial inclusion, specifically to rural communities and the hinterlands. Let's bring UX design into all this. How can better UX design help drive adoption in informal sectors like markets and roadside kiosks?
Simple. UX is not just about design, it's about user experience. When you are thinking about this type of user, there's something we call design for accessibility. Design for accessibility means you are designing for all type of user, and it means you are designing for how any type of user is able to access your product. For informal sector, it's very, very simple. Simplicity is everything. You don't want to complicate something for a market woman. The person just want to see that you make a payment, the money enter my account. So simplicity is very, very key. Minimal designs is what is important. Minimal interface, minimal steps. The onboarding must be good. It has to support local languages. That's very, very important. It has to support local languages. You have to be able to use voice prompt. You have to be able to use images. The literacy needs to be low. Literacy needs to be low. It doesn't have to be that techy for informal users, because they don't understand all those information architecture. It has to be minimal. It has to be simple. It has to support local languages. It means it's not just going to be English. People need to access other languages there. It needs to be able to use images. They be able to describe their transaction using images. These are kind of things that Google does perfect. Google do it perfectly. That everybody that uses their product or access their designs are able to access it seamlessly. So in informal settings, your design needs to be simple. It needs to be minimal. It has to be minimal steps. You don't want to be going through different things to get your this thing done. The steps need to be in 2 or 3 clicks. You are good. You are done. You have done what you are supposed to do. The accessibility is the icons, the language, everything needs to be very, very simple so that this kind of users can enjoy the product.
Okay, I know we've talked about regulation, we've talked about what the government can do in terms of infrastructure to ensure that this tap to pay becomes wider accepted. You also just talked about the need for simplicity for the informal sector. But with all of this, breaking it down to the nitty-gritty, using images, less complicated terms and all of that, would that still address the issue that we have mentioned earlier, the issue of trust? Because most people feel it's just a bit elitist now. Because I really would want to see a situation where I go to my village and the average woman in the market would actually accept to want to use NFC. How do we ensure trust, really? What do we do about this trust issue? It needs to really be addressed.
In terms of design, a lot can be done in terms of design. First of all, the design needs to be clean. It needs to be intuitive. You need to there are some basic things that need to be done in terms of to gain trust. First of all, there has to be clear error messages. That's number 1. There has to be confirmation of receipts. That's number 2. There has to be notifications. That one is very, very important. So if there's one of these products, like you mentioned, like OP and all those, there's one thing that they do seamlessly. They give you notification. All those traditional banks doesn't do it if it's not alerts from your mobile network provider. One thing you need to do, notification need to be on point. Every notification need to be on point. If it's balance, if it's your monthly balance, if it's transaction, anything that goes on with the product, there has to be notification. There has to be clear error messages. The error message needs to be transparent. Exactly. That's what I'm looking. Everything that happens, everything in terms of transaction, in terms of updates, in terms of notification, everything needs to be transparent. Error messages need to be transparent. And now the onboarding needs to be very, very clean, simple. not too much of burden screen. This is what it's doing. This is what it has done. That's all. There's the signing in and the logging in process need to have more security. It should not just be your username or your password or something. There has to be more. There's something we call on iOS now. There's something we call the password manager. There's Google Authenticator. There's two-factor. There are a lot of things now that help security. Security needs to be good. Your product needs to have a lot of security that guides it. You need to be transparent in everything. Notification needs to always pop up. For instance, I don't know. There's one of these platforms that do it right here. When they are sending you money, the money has actually not entered into your account, but you get a notification that money is coming. You understand? All those things helps for people because you need to gain trust first of all. So from design aspect, that needs to be simple, needs to be minimalistic. The user flow needs to be simple. 1, 2, 3, done. Now, error messages need to be clear. Notifications for everything that happens need to be clear enough. If something fails, if a transaction fails, immediately let the notification be clear and why the transaction failed. For instance, there's one of these platforms that we used to exchange, send money to Nigeria and all those things. There's one thing I enjoy about them. Once your transaction is in process, it shows your transaction in process. Once there's a glitch, maybe in your Nigerian bank, the notification pops up immediately, and again, another thing is there should be easy access to customer support.
All right.
Every means of getting access to customer support must be available. Every means possible. WhatsApp, text messages, call, email, and there has to be prompt response.
All right.
The one that you talking and people will give you robotic answers. There has to be access to customer support all the time. So with that, you gain trust.
All right.
Once
Finally,
you've done that, when there's a failed transaction, probably there needs to be a refund. Let it happen immediately.
Okay. Well said. As we round off now, just very quickly in 30 seconds, give us your bold prediction where you see Nigeria's tap-to-pay ecosystem in the next 2 years.
2 years, we should at least 20 to 30%, even if we don't have 50, 20 to 30%, because I know that we don't accept this kind of thing easily. I'm not gonna lie, we don't accept all this kind of things easily. But in 2027, I think 20 to 30%, we should be good, at least in the urban areas, in places like Lagos. In places like Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, especially in well-elited people who have traveled around the world and seen this thing happen, that have used it. It's at least those places should be on a get-go before you now start adopting other environment. But 20 to 30%, we are good. Right. We should be there in the next 2 years. It's possible.
Okay, that's fine. Well, as we've heard today, contactless payments aren't just a feature. They are a fintech transformation from speed to security. Nigeria is tapping into the future. A big thank you to Olawale Bamidele for your sharp insights today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right, and for our viewers, whether you are a fintech founder, small business owner, or just someone tired of fumbling with cash, the future is already here. Are you ready to tap in? This has been Business Insight. I'm Justin Akadonye. See you again next time. Bye for now.